Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm super excited to be here for Wax Still Live with all of you. Let me know how your day is going. Let me know what you've been up to. I'm super excited to be here with you today. My kids are finally back at school. They started school on Wednesday, yesterday. And so it's really great. I'm in my living room today because there's no one's home, nothing's going on. So I can be wherever I want. So we've got some great lighting today and we're going to do some citrus wax fills, which I'm really, really excited about. And I wanted to let you know, if you're new to Wax So Live, I do this every Thursday. And there was a little bit of a hiatus during July with summer things going on, but I'm back into the routine of things. So every Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I'm going to come live to show you a wax fill technique. And so it can be anything and everything. If you have ideas, send me a DM, but I always send out a text reminder for people when I'm about to go live. So if you text the word live to 877-557-5932, then you'll get a text reminder. I sent it out like 15 minutes before I went live so people know, and then you can hop on and join if you can. So thank you so much for being here. I can see Jackie's here, Kimmy's here, Catherine, welcome. Rose is here. I see a bunch of you are talking about your Wax Fill Club boxes, so that's so exciting. They should be arriving any day. What I wanted to show you today was some new stamps that are in the shop in a new set. So I wanted to show you the stamps, and I thought we could make some sills with them. And they're all citrus themed, which I think will be really fun. And one of these stamps I've never made a sill with at all, so it will be interesting to see how it works. I want to do the pour and scrape technique today. So let me show you these. So these are the 3 stamps that come in the set. This one is I've had in my shop for a while. It's called Citrus Branch, but I really love it. And this one, I just love how deep the 3D engraving is. It's just really pretty when it's pressed. So this is one of my favorite stamps. I've had it in the shop for a while, but it's new to this set. This one I had in the shop several years ago, but I haven't had it recently, but it's also a 3D stamp and it's called a citrus slice. So it's just like a slice of citrus. So it won't be the pour and scrape, but I'll show you another technique that's fun with this stamp as well. And then this is the new one that I'm really curious what we can do with it because it has multiple layers. So it has kind of a deeper layer of the citrus slices and then kind of a higher layer. So for pouring and scraping, I just don't really know how it's going to work. So that's part of why I thought this would be fun experiment, because I know there's other stamps like this that are, they're not 3D, but they're like, have multiple levels of dimension. And so it will be interesting to just see how it goes and how it turns out. So I've got my wax plugged in. And there is one thing, so these are the 3 that we're using today. And so these are actually, they're brand new to the site. Whoops, I knocked over my glue guns. And I'll add that to, let me see if I can grab that real quick. So this is the set. And what's nice about the sets is that they're a little bit cheaper than buying each of the stamps individually. So that's not the link. Ignore those. Sorry, it's giving me like a funny code on top of it. So I just want to make sure I send the right one. But the Citrus Branch one by itself is $37 just because of how it's 3D. It's a really deep engraving. And so this set is $60 for all 3. This one's $27 by itself. So it's like close to $85 if you bought them all individually. So I like doing the sets this way because then it gives you a better deal. And it's fun to have a set of sills. So this is the one that we're using today. So let me show you what supplies I have. If you're new, if you've never done the pour and scrape method, this is going to be fun. Let me know in the comments if you tried it yet. I know a lot of you have said that you haven't actually tried it. Let me know if you've tried the pour and scrape yet. But I have parchment paper down here. It's my marble pad. I've got a cold art spatula, metal, and I also have two, they're kind of to the side today. There's a little candle, this is a candle warmer. And what I'm doing is I'm heating up these two spatulas, and I'm just using the stamp to hold them in place so that they can heat up. And they've been heating for a while. I also have a cutting mat, an X-Acto knife, and I do have my warmer and spoon and candle because we're going to be making a lighter color orange wax. And then I also have a green, I have this pastel orange, and I wanted to try it with vellum as well. So we'll see. And I have other colors behind me if we do want to try those. But so the very first thing that I want to do is I need to plug in my white. So something that I like to do, especially with this orange one, is I want to make the inside part of the seal a lighter color orange, and then the outside of the seal a darker color orange. So if I use, and an easy way to do that, I can use this color that I already have, it's pastel orange, can be the darker. And if I add some white to it in my spoon and mix it, that's how I can get the lighter. So I'm just gonna, yeah, all these are warm, but I didn't have my white, I just had vellum. So I'm gonna get the white plugged in, and then we'll start this in just a second. So let's see. Nora says, I have tried it, not perfect, but getting better. I love hearing that. I've tried a dozen times with varying degrees of success. Awesome. I've tried it, but haven't been very successful. I feel like I love those of you that are trying it and you keep going, because I think you kind of fail at it for the first several tries, and then you start to see a little progress, and then it just keeps progressing. The more you do it, the better you get at it. So one thing that you need to do, for two things I'll mention, we want to have some paper towels. I had some wax stuck to this. So we want to have some paper towels or napkins with us, and this technique requires that you use a handle. So you can just add the stamp to the handle, and we definitely want this all the time. Let's see. Are you using a candle warmer plate or a coffee mug warmer, or can it be either? I'm using a candle warmer. This one's like $5 at Walmart. I don't have a coffee mug warmer, but I imagine it would probably work the same. I've never used one of those. But yeah, I feel like it would probably be fine. If you already have one of those, I would try that first instead of buying something else, you know? Okay, so for this technique, we want our waxes to be a good temperature and not too hot. So I'm just gonna check my temperatures. There's green and orange, and the orange is looking a little hot. So I'm gonna just unplug all of them but the white. I think if you have them too hot, it just, it makes it take longer to cool and everything. So for this one, we're gonna do multiple colors. We're gonna be doing orange on the actual oranges. We'll do green on the leafy parts, and then we'll press it into vellum as the third. So the very first step, or the very first thing that we need to do, is put the stamp itself onto the warmer. So let me show you this. So I'll just set it to the side here, and then I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I can take it off, and I like to just feel it here in my hand. And depending on how long your candle warmer has been on will determine kind of how fast it heats up, because it really, if it's been on for a while, mine's been on about 15 minutes, it'll heat up pretty quick. Ooh, I'm gonna do just like 1, 2 seconds. Okay. And that's feeling pretty good. So the first one I wanna do is orange, because that's gonna be my first color I'm laying in. And I just wanna have my paper towel handy, my napkin. And it seems to work best. Let me move some of these things out of the way. To press down and swipe. And I'm not worried about this covering the whole stamp head because I really just need it to be where the orange is. So I can tell my wax was a little bit on the hot side because it's, well, I guess it's kind of sinking because this is such a large area that it's filled is part of it, but I like it better when it doesn't scrape off super quickly like that with one go. To me, that's like, oh, that's usually too hot and potentially could lead to some issues. So we'll leave it like that and put this hot spatula back on to heat up. I don't need to do any more hot scraping because most of it came off, but you can see there's still a bunch here. So I need to use my cold spatula and scrape some of that off. And for this, I guess I don't need to be really particular because I'm really just keeping the orange. But I still want to get it scraped off because once I add the green, it will be harder to get it off. So I think it's still good to do it now. And you see how I just made like a divot here, which is fine because that's the leafy part. But because you can see where it's shiny, it's still cooling. Because it's like such a big area that we're filling and it's deep, it's easy to do that. So I'm just going to try to keep my spatula nice and flat so that I don't do that. Let me know how noisy it is. The living room is nice because my husband works from home sometimes, so then he can still access our room if he needs. But now there's like a bunch of vehicles. There's construction across the street. So I'm like, hopefully you don't hear that. It's like there's a big truck cleaning the road outside. Okay, so I think this is probably fine. And I want to let this cool. I can feel that it's still pretty warm, but I just want it to be quite a bit cooler before I start trying to take things out. It just won't come out if it's not cool. So let's set that aside. Let's light this one up. I'm going to move this little piece of wax to the side and let's work on this. Let's see. First, let's light the candle. And this would work good with a toothpick. I don't have a toothpick with me today. I have a little metal awl that I'll use to stir it. But basically, I just want a lighter color than this orange. So I'm going to pour, so this is a great, your spoon, even though I'm not melting the wax in there, is a great place to be able to mix color. And so if I add a bunch of white to it, and then I can mix. I think I like a toothpick better because I can hear this little all kind of scraping on my metal spoon. And I'm like, maybe a little too much white. There's still some room in the spoon, so I think I'll add a tiny bit more orange. This is reminding me of those, what are they called? Cream savers. Do you guys remember those candies? I don't even know if they're still around, but those were like my favorite. My mom would always buy the orange ones. So that's looking pretty good. That wax consistency actually is kind of nice. It's not too runny. It's kind of, yeah, looks like a creamsicle or something. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for just 1 second while I clean this off. It's always easier to clean the wax off when it's hot. So that's clean now. And what I'm going to do, this first one, I'm debating if I need to pour it onto marble or parchment paper. I think I might do marble just so I can move it, but I'm going to do this still. So I'm going to pour my wax and whoops. And you can see there's a bunch here. I'm going to set it to the side and I'm going to press this down in. And I'm not worried about bubbles because we're taking that edge off anyway. So I'm just gonna leave it like that and let it cool. As for my spoon, if you've never used a spoon or cleaned one, you can just use a paper towel. So I can do the edge. And can you see all that black? That's soot. This is a brand new candle I got because the brand new candles are kind of nice because their wicks are taller. Seems like once I'm going to do one more sill actually to use the rest of this wax up. See if I can get enough out to do this one. And I am going to pop the bubble on this side. Sometimes the bubbles take a while to pop like that one did. And so I just keep putting the lighter on it until it's done. So here, let's finish cleaning our spoon and then we can check if that other stamp is cooled enough. So you just kind of keep wiping it out until it's all the way clean. You can just leave wax in there and then you'd remelt it the second times. And sometimes I do that, but then I usually regret it. Once I'm having to reheat it, I'm like, oh, I wish I would have just cleaned out that spoon. So I don't know if you can tell. Let's see. There's kind of like little bits of residue left in here. And so what you would want to do to be able to like fully clean it is you'd want to just put it back on the heat and get it a little more hot. It has cooled down some, and then you can wipe it completely clean. With something like this where it's such a light color, I don't really think it would have much of an effect on any other colors, but especially if that was like a dark black or blue or something or red, it would definitely affect your future sills. So you would want to make sure to clean that out. For today, I'm just going to set it aside. Okay. And I just mushed that sill. Should we see if we can salvage it? I'm like, can I remelt that and fix it? I don't know. That's going to take a while. Well, it's better than it was. I must have bumped it with a napkin or something. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So I can feel that it's cooled down some, which is nice. And I want to use that all again. And I'm going to see if I can get this to come out. So it's so far kind of coming out easily. Or maybe it was my finger that touched that. So we just don't want, we want to keep our oranges, but we don't want to keep the leaves in orange. But I do want to try to get the oranges out all the way without poking them. So we'll see how this goes. That kind of pulled it up. Let's try from this side and see if we can get this side going too. There we go. So that's kind of the ideal situation, is that we can pull it out with using like the sides or like the other leaves so that we don't end up with like holes in our actual oranges. So there's our little oranges. They're so cute. So, so cute. This is where we need an X-Acto and a cutting mat. And at this point, I'm not quite ready to do my green yet, but I should check in on my wax. So it's not even kind of hot. So I need to plug that back in. So it's still important. I feel like just continually monitoring your wax temperature is just a really good thing to do. I'm going to plug in the orange as well so that we can do our orange slice. And then I'll also plug in the vellum because that's our final one. And I'm going to just try to maintain those temperatures. And I'm going to unplug white because that was the one that was plugged in. So it's boiling hot now. Okay. I have a coffee warmer. It works. Great to know. Trying better when I'm just doing one color for the design. Need to work on my patience when trying the multiple colors. That's a great point, Rose, because for me, I only stuck with 2 colors for quite a while, like several weeks. Just only stuck with those. So I think that's good. And then, yeah, then it does take a little more time and patience to do the multiple colors. Tried yesterday, another fail. My design gets stuck. Does it get stuck after you like put it in the final press, Andra? Is that what's happening? I think it's too hot if that is what is happening. So from here, we're just going to use, the other thing I love about this stamp is this is a pretty easy design. Even before I could do the pour and scrape, I have made this seal with multiple colors just by cutting it out. So it's a really, I don't know. It's a really gorgeous seal, but it's actually not too complicated. The little stems here, I kind of want to make sure I don't get any of the orange part because the stem kind of goes in between the orange. Okay, let's see if this one. There we go. And then we just need to clean it up a little bit where the stem was. That's looking pretty good. I'm just going to see if I can get this little spot cleaner and right here. Okay, and there we have our little oranges. So I don't need those little pieces right now. And I actually don't need the mat again for this stamp. I only need to cut out these ones because once we put it back in, we'll do a scrape with the green and then we'll do the final color. So you can see here, I've got quite a bit of orange left over. So I am going to try to do just a quick, just see if I can get a little bit of this off. I'm going to put it back on the warmer to heat it back up because if it's not hot, it won't stay in the wax won't stay in the stamp. But you can see I'm getting a little bit off of this because I'm not going to be getting it hot enough that the wax would just wipe clean, I don't think. Okay. So we don't want to put the wax in yet, but we're going to go back and reheat our stamp. So we're back to the candle warmer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll feel. And I'm going to try, I don't want it as hot as it was last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just counting so you guys can have an idea of how long it is. Because that's one of the hardest things is like, just leave it on till it's hot. And it's like, well, how hot? And then we can push that in. And that's good now. And I'm just going to grab a napkin so I have it ready. And I'm going to check my green and hopefully it's hot now. Ooh. It's a little bit, I'm worried it's not quite hot enough, but maybe we'll just try it anyway. Let's try it because if it doesn't work, then we can learn something. So this is in, the orange is in, and then I'm going to do it again. Hot spatula and scrape. And at first, the first time I did this technique with more than one color, I was concerned that, oh, I shouldn't let the green get where the orange is. But it's actually a little bit helpful because then I feel like it kind of seals the orange in even more than it was, you know? So don't be afraid of it overlapping like that. That's fine. And for this seal, There are these little tiny little like berry things up here, but I think it's okay for all the leafy stuff to just be green. I think it still looks really cute that way. But I mean, you can get as detailed as you want. So I've got it mostly cleaned off with the hot. And then I just want to do a scrape around the edge. I usually just use my fingernail to get all of that off. And then before I start using my cold scraper, this is when you need to start using the vellum. Andrew said that's when it happens. So Andrew's saying that after she's at this point, she's done scraping, she pushes it into the final sill and the wax doesn't come out of here. And I would say, yeah, I think what's in my experience anyway, it's like getting the stamp too hot in combination with wax that's too hot. So yeah, maybe let it cool a little bit more and then press, or don't get this heated up as hot from the beginning maybe. But it's very, it's just a technique that does require quite a bit of practice. I'm going to try to be careful because I don't really want to get, I don't want the design to come out of this wax. Or I mean the wax to come out of the design. But I do need to scrape it. So this step is just getting any extra residue off is the point of this step. That's what we're trying to do. All the spots that don't have wax in it. We just want it to be just the metal. But I feel like this one is a little bit more challenging because there's just so much wax, because it's such a large area of the stamp that has the wax, that it's a little challenging to do this step. But let's see what it looks like when I clean it off. There's still quite a bit on there. Let's do a little more. I'll try this side of my spatula. A little bit's coming off. We might just go for it. And I was saying how important it is to check your next pouring wax, and I didn't. It's a little hot. So I'm going to turn that off. Okay, let's move our bigger pieces of wax. So this, I'm not too concerned that I need to press it right away, but I do want to press it relatively quickly. But I think I have time. I can do this stamp while I'm waiting for my vellum to cool down. So that's this one, the orange slice. I think the wax was not quite as warm as it could have been, because you can see the wax didn't fully get into the engraving, which is fine. But I'm going to put it back on here, and you can press down. And it works actually especially well with this stamp because it kind of has a sharp edge. Like it's kind of not sharp, but like it just immediately drops down. So then we have this, and then we can press it into the darker orange to get kind of an orange look. So let's come back to this and check our vellum. I think that will probably be okay, especially on the, and we'll take this off. Okay, so now we're pressing our pour and scrape citrus sill. We're going to pour it into kind of an oval shape. And the other thing, if your wax is too hot, you can also let it kind of sit here for just a split second. And then we'll press it. And like, I think there's a bubble here. I don't think I got quite enough wax for what I needed. I should have done a tiny bit more. Okay, check this out. See how there's this huge bubble right there? And it's like, I'm gonna keep trying it with the flame, but sometimes the bubbles, it finally went out. But sometimes it's like you just have to keep holding it there to get it to go out, and that mostly just works with marble. I didn't get quite enough wax, which is a little disappointing for how much time we spent on the sill, but that's okay. We'll see how it looks in development. Very curious. Okay, let's check this one out. That wax is fine. So something when you're taking wax and you're sticking it back into a stamp and then you're going to press it, something that can happen is when you flip it, it can just fall out. And so what you want to do is if your stamp is a little bit warm, like body temperature warm, that can help. And you can usually even just set it on the candle warmer, but this stamp, it's like only this very edge would touch the candle warmer, so I don't know how much that would actually help. But we can also just try to push it into the stamp, and then I like to do a little test, and then if it's not falling out, then I'm like, okay, I can do this. This stamp is a little bit, it's 7/8 of an inch in diameter, so it's a little bit smaller than an inch. So we press that one down, we're just gonna wait. What is the best hot glue gun for wax sills? So I'm getting wax everywhere. So there's a few. Let me show you these two types. So this one is called AdTech, and it's a dual temperature gun. You can switch it to low. I like this one because I like the tip, how it's like a little bit smaller. And it's very affordable. So it's usually under $12. Sometimes you can get them for like $9. The other one that I like and that I like better than the first one I just showed is the Sure Bonder Dual Temp. It also has the switch. This isn't as small, but with the AdTech, I make wax seals a lot, right? And so I've run into an issue with AdTech where the wax I'll be using it and it will come out the back. So like in here, this whole thing gets filled up with wax and then it ends up I can't use it anymore. So that's happened to like several, like at least 15 of these glue guns for me. And so that's why I still like them and I still use them, but they're not my favorite. These ones, I have never had that issue of the wax coming back up. And they're similar in price. So that's why I like this one better than the AdTech. But I think both are fine for most people aren't making hundreds and thousands of sills. You could do great with both. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. That's a great question though, Betty. Okay, so I got some wax in here. I want this one to cool just a touch more. Let's take a look at this sill. I hadn't pressed this yet. So you can see this was where I bumped it and then I tried to remelt it. So we could even also try to see if we could melt that down a little bit. And it's not perfect, but now it's at least is usable. Like it doesn't have anything super weird. So for this one, I'm like, I don't know how, I don't want to cut out all the little pieces, but I'm wondering if we could do like lighter orange, like layers of oranges with like different shades of orange. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I'm not really sure how to handle this one with the pour and scrape because it's like yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just like maybe the top layers are like the lightest and then as it goes back it gets darker. I don't know. Gorilla Glue makes one too at Walmart. That's a great tip. I have seen those ones. I do have one of those, just not more than one. So that's how this one turned out. I think it's so cute, except that my wax wasn't quite warm enough, and so it didn't get a very good press. But that's kind of the idea. And this is really fun. You can do with like this color with orange, but you could do it with yellow too, like a lighter yellow for lemons, or you could do greens for limes. So there's lots of fun things you can do with just this simple technique. and it still looks really cute. I think I just needed a little bit warmer wax on that one. Okay, let's see if this one's ready. All right. All right, so I can feel that this is super tight. Like I'm trying to pull on it and nothing is giving. So I'm just gonna let it cool for longer and see if that helps. In the meantime, we do have this one, and I did grab one more of this so we can try that one again if we want. So let's try this one. And I'm just wondering, how we should do it. I have 2 greens. I'm just wondering if I need more colors than just one to get it to really show up. So I'm like, maybe we'll try it with greens, and I'll plug in. So I have a light green and a dark green. Just because I don't have another orange, and with adding white, I don't think we're really going to get that much more, like that much difference in shade. So I'm like, let's maybe try as if this was a lime slices. And so we can do the light green and then as the top layer, right? So I think we do light green first. Let's try it. So first I want to check my wax. It's warm, but it needs to be a touch warmer, but I can get this ready. So I need to have a handle on it. I do think this one is really cute though. And let's take a look at this one. I don't know. It seems like it's cooling because vellum is more clear when it's hotter. It does feel like it's cooling because it's starting. Yeah, I think we could get this off now, maybe. There we go. So that's how that one came off. Let me know what you think. Do you like it on the vellum, or does that make it seem not as, I don't know, prominent? I really want to figure out how to do once we get this part into hot glue. But the trick is, I feel like it might work with a stamp like this because it might hold the design really well because it's like 3D and deep. And then if we cooled it on an ice pack and then put it into hot glue, I don't know, I might try it. So let me know what you think. You like the vellum? I didn't get quite enough wax there. But so I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's like a ton of wax residue all the way around the edges of this stamp. So what I can do to get that off is I can just put it on my candle warmer, and I'm going to leave it for a while so that the wax gets totally melted, and then I can just wipe it clean. So I'm going to take this one now. I feel like my green will be warm enough. Let's check. We'll do a little, that should be fine. Okay, so let's try this one. We'll see. This could be a total disaster. I haven't done this sell at all, so we shall see. I feel like this one turned out pretty good. We didn't get the green. The green didn't get all the way into those little leafy berry areas, but that didn't get very warm. I think it's taking a little longer to warm because not all of the metal, like if you look at it, not much of the metal is actually touching the candle warmer. So it's just taking a second, just here on the warmer, getting warm. Let's see. Yeah, it's taking a while. Let's set that. We'll just keep that rocking, keep that going. I might try this with hot glue when we're done with this. We'll see if I can do it. But because I know with, because part of the thing is like for hot glue, the stamp has to be cold. And you can do that with frame stamps because the engraving's so detailed, you can put the wax back in even when it's cold and the wax will hold. just because it's so detailed in the design. And I'm wondering if it might be a possibility with this stamp because it's also 3D and pretty intricate design. So we'll see. Well, there's huge semi trucks out front. I don't know if you guys can hear that or if you can't even hear it. I hope not. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. We're going to pour some on the parchment. We're going to press and pull. And then we got to grab a hot spatula and we're going to scrape it off. Oh boy. This is different because it's not a flat, there's no flat surface on this. Oh, this is so interesting. Let me know if you have a stamp like this. I've seen one that's a snowflake that's similar, but it's like there's no flat surface on here. So this is very interesting. This could totally not work, but we'll see. These ones are cool because it's just like the little lines that have the color in it. So I feel like you could do the little like wedges of orange could be a color. I'm not sure, guys, if this is going to work out. Let me just get my spatulas back in place. So from here, I'm going to try to go around the edge and grab a napkin to go around the edge with. And I'm just going to check my darker green wax. That looks fine. Okay, so we've got that mostly cleaned. So at this point, it's like we need it to cool so we can pop it all out and then see what we're working with. I don't know. I'm not sure if this will work. We need that to cool. In the meantime, let's make another citrus slice really quick. That to the side. This wax is a little warmer, so hopefully this will work a little bit better. So we can press. I'm going to try to press down a little more so that it really, and I don't need to pop the bubbles, but might as well. I have had some challenges with stamps that don't really have blank space on them when doing pour and scrape. Yeah, I think it's because I think it is just challenging, Amy, because there's just not really, you're scraping not on a flat surface. So it'll be interesting to see how this one comes out because there's also, like, we want the bigger chunks to be solid. I don't know. We'll just see how this one comes out. Both the stamp and spatula need to be warm for it to work smoothly. Otherwise, you'll run into issues. Yes, I agree. So we got to let that cool down a little more. Should we see if this one's ready? I want to try this on parchment paper. And I'm like, is it too hot? Where's my green? Because this, so let's check this out. So this one has more like, I don't know what word to use. I want to say the word modeling, but I don't like modeled, but I don't know if that's right. But just how there's like these little lines, it's not like crisp. Where this one does look good here, but then there's a bubble here and there. So this, when I'm seeing this, I'm thinking it's not hot enough. when I'm seeing this with bubbles, then I'm thinking it's too hot with the bubble situation. So it's like an in-between should ideally get us a stamp where all of the little slices of the orange are like these nice ones that are like completely filled with wax, no weird bubbles or anything. And you can tell this wax is too hot. You can see how far it's spread on parchment paper. That's another benefit of using the marble. So this is a little warm still, but also I'm like, I just don't know where to pull off. And I'm like, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work. Because some of these, I can't tell what I need and what I don't. I think it's like these lines in here I don't need. I don't know if this, I want to just press this one into the second color and see how it comes out because I'm just not sure. So this wax is also too warm. You see all those little bubbles? So we can pop them now. And I can wait just a little bit. I like to wait sometimes, and sometimes I worry that it's gonna be, I wait too long, but we'll try it. And that kind of went off the edge of the marble, a little too close to the edge, but that'll work. I think we're gonna just pull that out and see because I'm not sure. I just don't know for the pour and scrape if this would work or if it's like you could. I'm just not sure. So maybe that's not how I would use this still, but I still wanted to try it. So we'll see how it comes out. Let me know if you have any questions about this technique. So let me show you this one. This one is the one that's been sitting on there for a while so that we could clean it. And now I can just go around all the edge where that wax residue was. Sometimes the paper towel can get stuck in the engraving part, but I don't know if you can see, but it's way cleaner now. It's really hot, so you don't want to do that or like touch it or anything, but that's the best thing to do after you're done with the pour and scrape is let it get really hot so that you can totally clean off any residue, and then it's ready to go for something like just a regular still or anything else you want to do. So that one, I wouldn't use it right now. It needs to cool down a lot, but now at least it's nice and clean, which is good. Okay, let's check this out. Like I want to see if that piece is not cooled yet. Sometimes I feel like I'm so clean when I do this, and then other times I'm like, I just make a huge mess with wax everywhere. So there's that one. That came off a little better. Let's see if the green is better now. Okay, let's try one more with this slice and see. I hope we'll get a better press on this one because I have used this stamp before, so I know you can get a really nice press with it because I've done it, just not recently. And this one, okay, well, this is interesting. I don't hate it when things go wrong when I'm live because it's also just a good learning opportunity for all of us. But it's like, it would be so cool if sometimes it didn't go wrong. But anyway, I think it wasn't quite cooled enough that I should have waited a little more. But actually, I don't hate how this turned out. Let me see if I can get it off the marble. So it needed more time to cool, was part of it. You can see it ripped it. But let's take a look. I mean, it is kind of a cool effect because if it had worked out well, if those lines would have been intact, it kind of just has the background ones just have the light lines, so it does bring those to the forefront. This part did get scraped out. So I think it wasn't what I was thinking would happen, but I think it is kind of cool still and would be pretty as a two-toned seal. Um, not I was thinking it would be like three-toned, but just as two-toned, I think that works. For this one, we still have a bunch of wax that's like stuck in here, and it doesn't really sit on the candle warmer well to do what we just did with this stamp to like get it clean. So another idea or another thing you can do is you can just pour it into another thing of wax. So I could take just any color and I might put it right here. That's pretty warm, so I'm going to let it cool. And I'm going to check my dark green because we're going to use dark green for this. And that's way hot. Let's see if we can move that out of the way. So then I'll just press this in. And then this seal, the whole point or reason I'm making this is just to get out that extra wax off of my stamp. But so I think I might try this again and see if I can get it. But I think it is kind of a fun, it does look cool if it wasn't ripped. Okay. Still bubbles. What do you guys think? I'm not sure. It wasn't too hot, I don't think, on that one. But it just comes off so easy on this seal when you do it like that. We'll still try it in green so you can see the effect. Oh, there's bubbles. There we go. And then we'll just wait for that to cool. I don't use the pour and scrape with 3D wax seal stamps. The wax will get stuck inside and you'll have a hard time cleaning it. Ask me how I know this. Yeah, I think it just depends on which stamp it is. I think it worked fine with this one. And I've done it on a frame stamp. I don't like it on that one because there's so much space that's not engraved. It gets scraped up for when you want to use it for other things. But yeah, that's something I want to explore more. When I see 3D seals often, I want to paint them so that they even look more 3D. You learn the most sometimes when things go wrong. Yes, very true. Want to go into your scrapbook of this is what I was doing, and this is how it turned out for future reference. Yes, that's a good point. I can put this in my little book of fails, but what happened. But it is just, yeah, it's an interesting one. I have a snowflake one as well that I'm like, I want to try it on just to see how it goes. Okay, this one I'm going to let it keep cooling. I'm going to see if this one, once it's in the second press, it goes pretty quick. And these bubbles, I feel like if I try to melt it, it'll kind of melt the whole thing and you'll lose the design. So I'm not exactly sure. I'm not sure why the bubbles on this one, because I haven't had that with the last time I made them. So I'm not sure. Maybe still a little bit too hot. I don't know. But it is cute, like the two-toned. And then you could also do it in yellow, so like a lighter yellow with a lighter rim for like yellow or for lemons. So that was today. That was it. It's a little bit short today. But I just wanted to try out these sills, try the pour and scrape. If you want to get this little citrus set, it's in the shop now and it's super cute and it's a great deal right now. There was another question. Do you know when you'll have Halloween and fall stamps? So they are all ordered and in production right now. I'm guessing I'm trying to do the fall collection by like the first or maybe second week of September, and then Halloween before I'm thinking like the last week in September, so a little bit before October. So that's something that I have such a hard time of ordering things on time to make sure they get here so everyone has time to make them before the holidays actually happen. And so that's something that's a goal I'm working on. So I was working on Christmas stuff today so that I can actually order it and it will get here with plenty of time. And then I'm already thinking about Valentine's too. So anyway, always thinking way ahead. But yeah, so they're coming. They're coming soon. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. I'll plan on seeing you next Thursday. I have an idea for kind of a fall leaf seal that I want to try. So that's kind of in my head what I'm thinking. I need to do a practice one and make sure it works. But that's kind of what I'm thinking is starting to do some more fall themed ones. I was gonna try to do it today, but I just haven't had time to like plan things out. So I was like, I've been thinking about this one for a while, so I wanted to do this one, and then we'll start delving into some fall ideas. So thank you guys so much for joining. And I'll plan on seeing you guys next Thursday for the next Wax So Live.